Hey guys, Kevin Downey over at Kevin M. Downey. Thanks so much for taking the time. Really appreciate it. In this video, I want to talk about my top 4 criteria when hiring for sales. And I think it's going to surprise you a little bit, especially if you're not familiar with our agency. But I'm going to walk through those things. Before I do, I just want to cut to our rate card really quick. If you're not familiar with us, I'm going to get through when hiring for sales. I'm going to go through those. But if you're not familiar with our agency, we've been around 10 years, Kevin M. Downey. We build high-performing sales teams. Okay, we do that through one basic program that has 2 different rates. So it's, of course, we need a legal binding agreement, but we don't get paid until you hire. Okay, what's included in our program, and I'll go through the 2 different rates really quick. So you get a dedicated recruiter, online candidate dashboard. Again, you pay after you hire. We get video introduction or Aptive Index assessment result. I'll explain that in a minute. I go through that in some other videos, my training regimen for B2B, especially business development, and then representative. How does that work? Why the difference? So $4,500 one-time placement fee is for our RTG candidates. Ready to go. These are remote only sales and business development candidates with exceptional experience that we are always recruiting and screening and running through Aptive Index to identify whether they're built for sales, what type of sales, what kind of compensation do they need, what kind of again, we have all kinds of talent. We get usually 50 to a couple hundred a day in the United States. And then you need them to have very specific industry experience for a sales role. Okay. That is when we have to do a custom recruiting gig. It's obviously the bulk of what we do and work with clients on, but we go out and we custom recruit. And then that placement fee is $8,500. Obviously significant more time and cost that goes into that, marketing cost through the roof when we have to do that kind of recruiting. So we're a totally different rate there. Obviously we're still a bargain either way because we're a lot less expensive than almost any recruiting firm in the United States, but 2 different rates. Okay. All right. Let's get to the topic really quick. 4 top criteria when hiring for sales. And I talk about this at length in other videos. First of all, Aptive Index assessment. They must be identified that they are built for sales and exactly what type of sales they are built for. As an example, here is our main sales profiles in Aptive Index. There's 5: BDR, hunter, one call close, farmer, and SDR. SDR is inbound, BDR is outbound. Mix of B2B and B2C there. But just to give you an example, here's a farmer sales rep. Here's a hunter sales rep. Here's a BDR. 3 very, very different things. Okay. So Aptive Index assessment and identifying that they are built for sales and what type of sales is number 1. Number 2, and often overlooked, compensation match. Question I want to know from a candidate: what is the minimum compensation you require right now to stop looking for a job? I got to make sure. I think it's huge. Did the candidate do their homework? It shows work ethic, interest, conscientiousness, right? It's a courtesy thing. Did they do their homework? Did they look up your company? Did they know anything about you? Did they know anything about, your organization, how big you are, what industry you're in, right? Whether or not they have sales experience, industry experience in a sales role or not. Like, did they do their work? If not, have a hard time moving them past the screening process there. And then finally, I'm looking at sales or business development experience, not sales or business development experience necessarily in an industry. Okay, what I'm looking for is sales or business development experience in general, especially if they need to do B2B prospecting. And the reason why is because it is such of a grind of a job that we need to make sure that they know what they are in for. Completely green people can be diamonds in the rough, but the challenge there is, even if we've matched them on assessment, they may determine that the grind of business development is too hard for them. They just don't want to do that day to day. Okay, right? I don't like to take that risk. So if they need to do business development, I really like to make sure that they've done a little bit of it so they know what they are in for. Not that that experience makes them better at it, because it doesn't. In most cases, they were poorly trained, if trained at all. But at least they know what they're in for. And that matters, because what I don't want is recruiter rep industry is not, it has almost no value. We've shown that already, right? Because they actually don't want to do the prospecting in most cases. And in B2B, they almost always have to. They don't want to do it. They're just waiting. They try to go out to their network and they ping people on LinkedIn, send a few emails. They maybe get a few low-hanging fruit, and then the needle stops. Why? Because they didn't want to prospect in the first place. They already had contacts. Well, they got a few customers and now they're stuck. Industry, sales, experience in the industry and sales capacity. Sometimes a negative sometimes a negative, not even a neutral, rather than being a positive. Okay. So hopefully that helps you. If you have any questions, you want some recruiting help, find the best talent for you, right? KevinMDowney.com. Appreciate you being here today. Best of luck in business, and we'll talk to you soon. Thanks.